How do first impressions affect relationships?
I believe they cast a surprisingly long shadow, often disproportionate to the few seconds it takes to form them. That initial snapshot creates a kind of interpretive lens. If the first impression is warm, we tend to give the person the benefit of the doubt during later, more ambiguous interactions. While not immutable, a rocky start means the other person is fighting an uphill battle to recalibrate our perception, as initial imprints are incredibly sticky. However, a highly self-aware person can often override that gut feeling if they consciously look for evidence that contradicts their first impression.
Is it possible to know someone quickly?
You can certainly grasp certain facets of a person quickly, like their sense of humor or presented self, but meaningful depth is a slow burn. True knowledge is an accretive process that requires witnessing how someone behaves when things go sideways or when they're under pressure. Anyone can be charming over a coffee, but you only learn about their core values by seeing how they treat a flustered server or handle a major disagreement. So, while you might feel an instant spark of compatibility, the private self only unfolds over time and shared experience.
How have social norms about meeting people changed?
The landscape has shifted from serendipitous encounters to more intentional algorithmic searches. A generation ago, we met through well-worn channels like proximity or mutual friends, but digital platforms have now democratized the process of meeting people outside our immediate bubbles. This abundance can sometimes make interactions feel a bit transactional or disposable, as the slow build of organic connection is replaced by a more interview-like process. That said, the core etiquette of respect remains the same even if the medium of the first introduction has fundamentally changed.
What makes a good first impression?
It's less about a polished performance and more about conveying a sense of relaxed, attentive presence. What really lands is the feeling that the person is genuinely present with you, rather than scanning the room for a more valuable connection. A warm smile and a thoughtful question signal confidence without arrogance, making the interaction feel like an invitation rather than a sales pitch. Mind you, over-rehearsing a first impression can often backfire, as people tend to pick up on a lack of authenticity.
Should we trust our first impressions?
I think we should acknowledge them as a useful survival mechanism, but ultimately hold them lightly. While our gut instincts are a rapid synthesis of past experiences, they are also riddled with unconscious biases based on vague associations. We might warm to a stranger simply because they remind us of a friend, which isn't a sound basis for judgment. The wise approach is to treat a first impression as a tentative hypothesis that needs to be confirmed or overturned by subsequent interactions.
How do online interactions affect how we meet people?
They've fundamentally inverted the sequence of getting to know another human being. In the analog world, you experience someone's embodied presence first, but online, you often have a person's entire biographical data before you've even heard the timbre of their laugh. This front-loading of information is efficient, but it's also impoverished because it strips away the nonverbal cues we rely on for chemistry. Consequently, the leap from digital profile to physical person can often be a jarring experience if the in-person energy doesn't match the online persona.